Hey guys, this is R597 here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different in terms of video. What we're doing here, as you can probably see, is that we are reviewing the Season 1 balance update for Crash Team Rumble. Basically, in League of Legends terms, a patch rundown. So this is something I will be doing on the channel. I may or may not do it for every patch because either A, I may forget, or B, I got stuff going on, but I will try to at least have some sort of consistent streak of doing these patch rundowns, giving my thoughts about what balance changes are doing, etc., etc. So this is what this is all about, where we go over like the changes, I give my opinions about them, and I tell you whether or not I think, in my opinion, is good, is bad, etc., etc. So that's what we're gonna be doing here today. So let's get right into it. Okay, so basically they give you introduction where the guy introduces himself, who's making the overall post. He is Toby, design director, Toys for Bob. He's basically saying that he's writing this vlog to share with us the details about the first game balance update for Team Rumble, which is, according to him, live today. So we can literally go play that patch today. He basically thanks us for playing, sees that we're excited about Ripperoo, which, by the way, I have not gotten a chance to play Ripperoo, and I'm still trying to learn more about his kit, because while yes, it's pretty simplified, you still have to know the interactions, you still have to know what counters you still have to know a lot of things about when the kit could be applicable in some situations. So it's going to take a bit. We're not going to go through all this because it's a little bit of a, not a waste of time, but it's pretty self-explanatory as to how they usually start the blog posts. He brings in another person that basically explains how exciting Ripperoo is, and basically says there are other secret strategies that you can do, which is why I mentioned already, where not only do you have to learn about what counters your kit and what makes it work, but you also have to know certain interactions so you know if it's a good interaction or a bad interaction. So that's what I mean right there. All right. Now let's talk about game balance. You can trust that we've been soaking up your observations and opinions on Discord, Reddit, and Twitter. So basically, they've just been reading about what we've been saying on social media, and just taking that into mind. But also keep in mind of what the numbers and stats actually show behind these changes. So they're not going to go all in on listening to every single thing that we say, but they're going to keep that in mind for a lot of the parts, just not all the way through. Because, for example, people can say that Crash is super OP, but the numbers don't show that. So that's what I mean. Today's update contains the following adjustments. We know that these does not cover all the valid concerns. I just said that, basically. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay. Alright, let's do it. Alright, so Dr. Nefarious Trophy, which is female in Tropy. Nefarious hard recovers it. She's incredibly mobile and is highly effective at knocking foes back. Her run rate is statistically higher than intended. Therefore, her health has been reduced by 11%. It's possible we'll have more changes for her soon. Now, I find it kind of funny that they brought up the fact that she's highly effective at her knockback, but then they don't nerf it. All they do is nerf the health. I can understand maybe to some degree of why you would nerf the health, because maybe you would want her to be more easily killed, and usually higher health characters tend to basically just be more of a threat because of it. So basically ding and dial, etc. But my issue really is that this doesn't really change the fact that she's such a highly effective knockback, where yeah, the health is going to be reduced, which makes it a little easier, but that still doesn't change the fact that her knockback happens fucking a lot under 3 seconds, so it doesn't really do anything. So this nerf doesn't really do anything. Dr. Nefarious Trophy, or I just need to say female entropy, she's still going to be a pretty strong character, so I don't know if this really changes a whole lot. Maybe I could be wrong, but I just don't see how that really changes anything at all. So, I mean, they did say it's possible to have more changes for her soon. This is basically saying that, hey, we're going to see how this goes, and if it doesn't really go the way we want, then we might just end up making more changes. But to me, what I would have done, honestly, was I would have still reduced the health by a little bit, but in exchange for this not being 11%, I would have done it to maybe 7 to like 9%. And what I would have done was reduce reduce of how far, not how far, but basically buff the cooldown for the knockback ability. You know, like buff it up to where it's not too bad on entropy, but it's also not spammable so fucking often, so that way you actually have some sort of counterplay. So that's what I would have done. All right, number 2, Tawna. She's also highly mobile. Her has lightning fast kicks, and that hook can punish when in the right hands. Win rate has been a little low compared to other scorers, so we've increased her health by 17%. I actually like this buff. My issue with Tawna is that it has nothing to do with most of her kit, because I think her kit allows for some good counterplay. It allows for some defining game moments that can happen. But one of my bigger things about her is that her health is just never up there with the other people on the field. I mean, maybe you could say the same about Crash and Catbat, but Tawna has it worse when it comes to the health bar. So I think buffing her health by 17% is pretty fucking good. Basically what this means is that she can now probably compete a little bit more in like long duration fights with against the other team in the game, because in my experience playing Tawna, I can never really seem to really be in longer durated fights, because my health just goes down so fucking fast that I literally just cannot really compete with these people. Like, I just can't. So I would say this is a good buff. I don't know what else I would really change about her. I think everything else is pretty good. Maybe slightly a tiny buff to like her hit power. Just make it to where her hits don't really feel like it's a scratch. It's more so like a massive punch, but not too much to where she becomes like this super overpowered character, but just a tiny bit enough to where she can maybe compete with them in a combat level, because her combat is decent, but her combat's not where I think it should be at. But then again, though, this is me just guessing, because we don't know Team Rumble's stats. We don't know of like the win rate of the characters. We don't know how much her power does. Maybe there is like some sort of stats thing or whatever, or something out there that's official that basically goes into what the numbers are. So we don't know about that. But that's what I would do. I would do that, and I would keep the health increase as well. Maybe just slightly down to 50%, just so it's not too much of an over buff. Because the thing you have to understand, though, is that sometimes games will overbalance a character, or overbuff a character, I should say, just for the fact that they were super weak. But then there becomes the problem of that character being super overpowered because of it. So then what they're gonna have to end up doing is they're gonna have to take that overbuffed character and bring it back down to nearly where it was before when people were complaining about it. So I hope Toys for Bob, because this is their first game ever doing that sort of thing, I hope they keep that in mind, because that is one of the main traps of these kinds of games. And I'll explain more about that later, or maybe in another video or stream. So, but yeah, overall, I think the Tawna thing is good. I think the health is very needed. I just like to see, once I play this patch later on, basically how effective that is. Okay, number 3, Fly Trap Spitter. Fly traps have had a long history in the franchise. We love them, and they've been underperforming, so they also get a health increase by 33%. Yeah, I will say that Fly Trap Spitter has a very good chance to be like one of the most effective one of the most effective power-ups. But one of my biggest issues with this thing is that this thing never stays alive for that long for order for you to really use it. Like, you might be able to get like maybe 3 or 5 good hits with the thing, and then it just kind of goes blah, So just like Tawna, I think this is a good health increase, because of the fact that this thing dies pretty quick. So you're not really getting a whole lot of impact with the Fly Trap Spitter. Though I still think one of my biggest things about the Spitter is that even when I'm getting hit a lot by this thing, it feels like I could still just overpower through it and still be able to do what I need to do. So I don't know. I mean, the health increase is great. Don't get me wrong. But I think what I would have loved to also see is a buff on like his Spitter ability. Like, I want to see it maybe do a little bit more damage. Or if they're not wanting to do more damage, maybe increase the slowness that people end up having when you have the goo on you. Maybe just buff it by a little bit to where it's not the most absurd thing in the world, but enough to where having Flytrap Spitter is fucking worth it for your loadout. So I think this is good buff. I think having it more alive might actually help with the fact that it might end up spamming out a little bit more to be able to actually do something, but not enough to where it becomes overpowered. But honestly, who knows? But overall, I think this is a good buff. I love it. I do like to see. I would like to see maybe like a damage buff for this thing, or like a slow buff, whatever. When I say slow buff, I'm referring to like the spit. The spit buff, whatever. I would have loved to see a buff for one of those two things or both, but I think this is good. This is good enough as far as that's concerned. With the health. All right, Gas Moxian Guard. You told us in the recent Twitter poll, Gas Moxes are the power you find the trickiest to deal with. See, I knew that fucking Twitter poll was a trap. So we've shortened the lifespan by 72%. This is actually a good buff, because one of my things with the Gas Moxian Guard is that thing stays alive for way too fucking long, and you're never really able to kill it just by yourself unless you kind of know when to go back down whenever it's not like spamming its AoE. Like, you're more than likely, if you're not good at timing those things, you're more than likely going to require like a team, not the whole team, but you're more than likely going to need like another teammate or two just to be able to do it. And honestly, with the way that these games go in Team Rumble, you'll be lucky to get like a team member or two to help you out with that, because people just play on their own and not really trying to help out a whole lot. So, but that's an issue for another day. So there's not much to say about it, because I think Gas Moxian Guard is still gonna be pretty fucking powerful in terms of like the AoE damage it does, and you know how often your health bar goes down. But I think the lifespan going down by 72% is gonna definitely add some counterplay for you to be able to kill the Gas Moxian Guard, so that way you get it out of the way, you get off the field, and that way you're just able to do what you gotta do. So this is why I like to call a thing where you get rid of like one of the biggest things that makes this thing annoying, but this thing is still also going to have like a very good presence in the game. It's just going to not be as absurd. So I think this is a good change. Okay, bots. We know this is one of your top concerns. We have lots in the works. Today's update represents an increase in what we call Wumpa collection efficiency. More coming soon. We appreciate your patience. So this doesn't really tell me anything, other than maybe the fact that maybe the bots do a better job at Wumpa collection. But honestly, I think bots, I don't know. I have nothing against bots, but seeing bots in competitive, which I understand why they did it, because you know it's like, oh, your teammate disconnected, your teammate rage quit or whatever. We'll add like somebody there to play on their behalf, so you at least have a member, which I completely get. But if you're gonna do that in competitive mode, then the bots have to be, then the bots have to actually represent a difficulty with the other players. So like obviously, a human player playing compared to a bot is going to be radically different, because that bot may end up being shit, and meanwhile you're somebody that's a pro. So I think what they definitely should do is not only the Wumpa collection efficiency, as they were saying here, but they should also increase the difficulty of the bot, so that way they can at least resemble some sort of human difficulty, or human play or whatever. But we don't really know too much about it, because it did say that there's more coming soon. So I don't know what else they can really say about it. So, okay. Outside of changes above, here's a partial list of other items on our radar. So basically, this is like a list of items that they're planning on doing, but they don't have like numbers as far as like, you know, whether or not they're getting nerfed, they're getting buffed, you know, they're getting a placebo buff or nerf. It's like, who knows? Okay. Cortex transformation duration. I don't really think that's too much of a problem, but sure. Cat bat dive bomb recovery time. I haven't seen too much cat bat in my games, honestly, to really give too much of an opinion, so I don't know. Embryo brute transport interruption conditions. Yeah, they need to fix that, because I can't imagine. I can't tell you how many times I tried to kill Embryo during his transformation, and I just never could get a chance to fucking interrupt him, no matter what I throw at him. So they definitely need to fix this shit, because I'm so tired of playing against Embryo, where he's 1 HP, but then he hits his transformation, and then once he's in that transformation animation, you can never fucking kill him with anything. So they need to open this up for counterplay, because that's some fucking bullshit. Entropy teether count cooldown. Good. They need to buff that shit, because I just can't fucking deal with I just can't deal with the fucking teeter of this bitch, because I'm pretty sure the teeter is the knockback, right? Okay, if the teeter is the knockback, which I think it is, they need to definitely increase the cooldown, because that is some absolute nonsense. Ripperoo bomb spawn rate. Again, I have not played too much of Crash Team Mobile within the last few days, or ever since Ripperoo came out. So I have not seen too much of Ripperoo, so I can't really say anything about this one. But I imagine that maybe based on, if I had to guess, maybe the bomb spawn rate isn't that great. If I had to guess, because otherwise, why would this even be here? Um, okay. Overall blocker roll strength. I mean, I can see why they say this, but Dingle Dow carries that fucking roll. Dingle Dow carries that fucking roll 110%. I think he's the only blocker though. Oh no, let's take a look. Team Rumble blockers. Let's take a look. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, you guys can. Okay. Um okay, so we got Dingo Dial, Embryo, Tropy, and Ripperoo. Basically 4 blockers. Dingle Dial essentially carries this fucking Dingle Dial and Entropy basically carry the blocker class. I know I was just complaining about Embryo's transformation, but when he's not the monster, he's not that hard to deal with. And Ripperoo, like I said, I haven't seen him, so I can't really comment. I can't really comment on the guy, so I'm not going to be able to do it. So I think what they probably want to do here is redefine the strength of blocker roll. Not necessarily make it overpowered or whatever, but essentially make it to where, that the overall strength of the roll is more defined. I would hope they give it more of a balanced approach and not just give like one person all the overpowerness in the world, or more of a way better tune, and then all the other ones just turn into shit as a result of it. So, I think this is good for now, without knowing the specifics or whatever. So definitely there's definitely not much to really say there outside of that. That blasted wall, I have no idea what that means, but I'm sure there's like a reference in one of the maps. Okay, many bot improvements. Again, this is going back to this, which we don't know about, so it's not really, I can't really say anything about that. Thank you for all for playing. We look forward to continuing your voices online, or hearing your voices online, and engaging with you. Okay, so let's go through this real quick. All right, so what we do at the end of these videos is go over quickly the changes, give like quick thoughts, and then just give prediction, and then go from there. Okay, so Dr. Tropy, this is a good nerf. I would love to see a little bit more, but this is a good way of starting it out. Tawna, this is an excellent buff. I think the health increase was very necessary for her to compete with other scorers and other people on the field that are on the other team. So this allows her to be more in like the long durated fights, and she can actually make better use and effectiveness of her kit. Flytrap Spitter, I think this is a good buff as well for the health. And same thing, like I said, for Tawna, but I would have loved to also see a little bit more of a duration or buff to like its attack for Flytrap Spitter, but this is a good way of making sure that this thing can actually stay alive for a little longer. Gas Moxie and Guard, this is a good health nerf for the fact that this thing is pretty bulky for what it does. So I think this is a good way of not this is a good nerf to not go at its power, because I don't think the power is too much of the problem. I think the problem with this, for the most part, other than the power, maybe like I just said, is that the health is a little bit egregious. And we can't really say anything about the bots, because there's really nothing that they said that really made it anything for me to comment on, other than Wampa collection efficiency, which, who knows. And then these small changes where Cortex transformation duration's not really too much of a problem for me, but whatever. We'll see if they increase it or they buff or nerf it. Catbat dive bomb recovery time, not really too sure. Embryo brute transformation interruption conditions, they need to make this more clear, because it's some absolute nonsense. Entropy's teeter cooldown, nerf that or buff that cooldown if this is the knockback ability, because that is some absolute fucking bullshit. Which, by the way, let's take a look at that real quick, because I want to see what this is all about. To trip up and damage your enemies will also knock your enemies down. Okay, so yeah, definitely buff the cooldown for this shit. Buff the fucking cooldown. They need to. Ripperoo bomb spawn rate. Don't know too much, so I can't really say anything. overall block roll strength. I mean, I already gave my thoughts, but hopefully they don't overdo some of these characters. They become way more fucking powerful. Blasted Wall, I don't really know what that means. Many bottom improvements, we don't know what that will really show, so who knows. Okay, and that was the Season 1 balance update for Crash Team Rumble, or the first patch. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe in today's video. And don't forget to also hit that nice subscribe button if you're not a subscriber to the channel. And just remember, guys, I also do stream on Twitch, which is at rfire97, which, by the way, speaking of that, it's rfire97 on all major platforms, which is Twitter, YouTube, as you guys already know, Steam, if you want to send me a game or add me, whatever, Twitch, Facebook, and etc. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy, rfire97. Thank you again for watching today's video. I hope to see you guys next time on the next video. And as my buddy TSS Killer always says, wash your motherfucking hands. I'll see you guys later.